Tech apprenticeships work, but getting them started may feel like a lot of work. We're about to show you the key on how to do it and do it well.
So I wanted to talk about apprenticeships because apprenticeship programs have been around forever, right? So we'll go into what the traditional apprenticeship looks like and what I'm observing, at least from the tech industry, because they are coming back, right? And they're trending again. And right now, a lot of tech employers are using apprenticeship models to provide on ramps to non college job seekers, right? So we will get into that. I think it's important just to norm on like definitions. So I actually grabbed these definitions from the New York State Department of Labor site because traditionally apprenticeships are, government funded. They are a result of a partnership between an employer and the government. So a lot of these opportunities are also like registered. So you actually apply by going to the DOL site in your state, or the federal government also has an apprenticeships website. But the point of apprenticeships are to offer a wide opportunities to learn a specific trade while you are getting paid, right? A lot of employers use it to create a pipeline of non-traditional talent, which I hate the jargon. There's also a movement to use better language when we're talking about job seekers that don't have college degrees. But it is a pipeline solution so that employers have access to entry-level talent. And so that job seekers without a lot of work experience have an opportunity to learn, have an opportunity to be linked to an employer, and like they get income while they are studying for a certification, while they are receiving mentorship from an engineer, etc. Okay. If the solution is effective, right? So if an employer ends up converting an apprentice into a full-time employee, then the employer has savings, right? They get to know the talent that is coming in as full-time, and it increases work satisfaction, right? I think it's really important to talk about the earn and learn model, because that's what an apprenticeship is. And the earn and learn model exists throughout the sector, and for various age groups beyond the apprenticeship programs that exist today. So earn and learn models can include apprenticeships, internships, and even career connected learning for youth. And so a lot of organizations or government agencies use on the job training, especially if they are referring to a job seeker that is getting paid to get a certification or a license. Work-based learning is very, very inclusive of all of these types of models. And then career exploration or career-connected learning mostly refers to industry engagement for youth, right? Just like the Knowledge House knows that it's so important to start as early as possible with career exploration. We all know that if you provide youth with employment opportunities as early as high school, not only does that make career exposure equitable, especially for low-income youth that need to work while they're in high school, but it allows them to explore different industries, different occupations, as they determine what their path is after high school, right? College, study X, Y, and Z major, or go to trade school, go to the military, etc. I wanted to cover just a few examples of the earn and learn models that are pretty popular. So I took this screen grab um, from the DOL apprenticeship site. And you can see it's a recent post. It is for a data analyst role. And what I want to point to you is that the pay, right, 35K to 40K a year, that's for a full-time apprentice, right? They are expected to work 40 hours a week. Often it is for several months, maybe a few years. And remember, traditionally apprenticeships target job seekers that do not have college degrees. Whereas summer internships, especially, are for students that are enrolled in college. So if you look at a screen grab for a summer internship for the same role, right? In this case, Cigna is hiring a summer intern to be a network data analyst. And you can see that the salary is a little more, right, than the full-time salary offered to the apprentice. And you can see this is the same location, same role, right? Hartford, Connecticut. You can also see, though, in terms of the job requirements and what they're looking for in candidates, they're looking for the same entry-level skills, right? But of course, this opportunity is for college students that have a 3.0 GPA or above. Their preference is a computer science major or like a data analyst major, right? But you can already see some of the cons of traditional apprenticeships. They are lower paid, even though it's a great solution for job seekers that do not have college. All right, so I wanted to share two success stories with you all. Because as I mentioned, though the Knowledge House does not provide a formal apprenticeship opportunity, we have been really lucky to work with employers that are either launching apprenticeship programs or they are expanding them. And so a lot of our employer partners, while they still hire for full-time entry-level talent, senior tech talent, they are offering apprenticeship programs. So one learn and earn model is at Snapchat. So Snapchat has this SnapLens Academy program where they recruit college students or students from programs like the Knowledge House, and they enroll them in a summer on-the-job training program where students are learning about Snap technologies, AR, VR, they are upskilling on coding, and then they create a project. A very small percent of the participants of this opportunity get to work at Snapchat. But what's great is that those participants can leave the SnapLens Academy with a work portfolio, with extra skills. They have Snapchat on their resume, and then they can take all of this good stuff to their next job opportunity, right? So it definitely optimizes their job search. And then here is a quote from Camille, right? She says, "The Knowledge House opened me to a world that I didn't think was possible without doing college first," right? So that's the thing. Whereas usually companies like Snapchat are targeting college students for these entry-level roles, Camille was able to go to the SnapLens Academy without a college degree. Another success story is Shafi. So Shafi, he landed an apprenticeship at ClassPass last year. It was a 6-month apprenticeship program, and he actually ended up as a full-time software engineer at ClassPass. So he is still there now. He is loving it. And, this is one example of where an apprenticeship program did lead to full-time employment. Something else that I wanted to point out, often these employers, have the training in-house. So they are matching apprentices to mentors who are leading the engineering teams, or junior technologists that are trying to develop their leadership skills. Uh, in the case of ClassPass, they actually partnered with Multiverse. And if you know Multiverse, it's basically online classes, right, that are accessible to folks. And so sometimes companies partner with an education provider so that the apprenticeship experience is sustainable, right? I hear feedback all the time that one of the challenges employers face when hiring entry level talent is that they don't have capacity to be so hands on with entry level talent that is still learning, right? And so that's something that I've seen a lot. Google also, um, as part of their online apprenticeship program, they use Coursera to provide that cert training, right? So you are seeing that employers are partnering with education institutions all the time to make these apprenticeship opportunities sustainable. Okay. And I just wanted to point out, these are only some of the employers that have hired our fellows in recent years. Okay. So we are almost getting to questions, but I wanted to um, conclude with pros and cons of apprenticeship opportunities, right? So we know the good things include providing a safe space so that job trainees can learn, securing an apprenticeship role at a brand name company opens doors for you, even if you don't end up working there full time. Apprenticeships are also, in my opinion, one of the most meaningful career exploration opportunities because it is linking talent to employers directly. And that's a challenge that a lot of nonprofit workforce development agencies and schools have when they are trying to teach these career skills. They want access to the employers, they want feedback to the employers, they want employer engagement, and the apprenticeships makes that happen. Some of the setbacks, I would say, are, there are traditional apprenticeship opportunities that have existed for years, but I do think this is a growing new trend within tech, right? So in the past few years, all of these tech companies have said, I know that my tech talent is not diverse. I have trouble hiring non-traditional talent because I'm always going to the same colleges to hire talent. So I'm going to try an apprenticeship model as a solution to my problem, right? A lot of companies are creating these opportunities in-house. Another con is that so far, I don't see that the majority of these apprenticeship opportunities do lead to full-time jobs at the host company. I do see that apprenticeships lead to full-time job overall, but not necessarily at that same company where you did your apprenticeship. I have been mentioning one of the cons, and I do think this is an equity issue. So I think my call to action to employers is make sure that apprentices are making the same as entry level talent that is coming from college, right? Because at the end of the day, apprenticeship opportunities are supposed to be equitable. They are supposed to, match non-traditional talents to economic mobility. And if apprentices are not making a equitable wage, a fair wage, then we're still not treating them fairly, right? And so that needs to change. And then something that I'll speak to in a second is that scaling apprenticeships seems to be a challenge for employers, as I mentioned. So it seems the most sustainable, or scaling apprentices seems to be most sustainable when in partnership with the government.
That's our final episode of Technically's Learning Series on diversifying your workforce. Thank you to our supporter, the City of Philadelphia's Department of Commerce. If you want to dive deeper All of the most diverse Tech Hub reporting and learning, including full recordings of the workshops, can be found on Technically's website. Consider joining our public Slack channel to stay up to date with our latest reporting. Subscribe to our newsletters and follow us on social media to see our upcoming programming. Once again, I'm Deborah Sharma Luz for Technically. See you next time.